Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about maximizing the amount of profit that you're going to make on a deal when you're selling to a private pool of cash buyers. This is so important because once you get that precious deal, it's important to extract every last dollar that you can out of it. But before we get into today's show, if you have not been to our website, check out our site, No Limits Real Estate investing.com. And if this is the first time that you're listening to the podcast or you have not reviewed the show, please share it, right? Take the link from the iTunes or the Spotify apps, copy and paste them and send them to 3 or 4 friends that you know would benefit from this, or a team member or a colleague that needs to hear it, especially today's episode. So, a lot of investors, they look out and they're so excited to get that first deal, right? And they just go from deal to deal to deal to deal. And really, they don't realize how much money they're leaving on the table. And I could tell you one of the secrets between the investors who just make a living at this business compared to the ones who make a lot of money, right? I'm talking, they net 7 figures in this business, is that the people who net 7 figures know how to disposition their properties. They know how to get the maximum amount of money out of every single deal. Imagine this for a second, right? You do 10 deals over the course of a year, and believe me, you could do a lot more than that, right? And pretend like you make $7,000 over 10 deals, and you multiply that over a course of a year, and that's $70,000 a year, right? Now that's nothing to look down upon, right? But if you're in this business and you're trying to make 7 figures, that's a very, very, very long way away from there. Now, pretend for a second that same investor took those 10 deals, and instead of making $7,000 on them, okay, they committed to making $30,000 on each deal, right? So 7 times 30, okay, that is $210,000, right? That is a much, much, much bigger profit for the same amount of work. And so I'm going to teach you how to get the most around disposition, how to get the most when you're selling your properties. Now, I suggest getting much deeper discounts on the front end, right? If you have not checked out our sales system, I talk about this on our podcast a lot. Go to nolimitsalessystem.com. You want to lock up properties as low as you can, and you want to negotiate the largest spread. So you have to do this on both sides, both the front end and the back end. So today we're going to focus on the back end when we're selling to a pool of private cash buyers. You're also going to love the next episode that I'm going to do. Besides this, I'm going to talk about a ninja trick that you may have never thought of. So how to maximize profit. I'm going to assume for the purposes of this episode that you have a cash buyers list, right? I will do, if you listen back into other episodes, I show you how to get cash buyers. But what you want are legitimate cash buyers on your list. Now, this is not people that you found through other real estate investors or people who say they buy. I'm talking legitimate buyers who they have a track record of buying. And again, I've got other episodes on the podcast about that. So I'm assuming that you've got a pool of hungry cash buyers. Here's where people go wrong. People have 3 or 4 go-to buyers, right? Most wholesalers, most amateurs. And when they get a property under contract, they have this anxiety and they have this just this rush to sell the property as fast as possible. And they're also looking for the path of least resistance, right? So they just want to pick up the phone or just text their 3 or 4 cash buyers and say, hey, do you want to buy this property, right? And normally they do this because this buyer has performed, right? They sign the contract, they put their earnest money into escrow, and they closed the deal, and it was easy, right? And so sometimes we trade easy for money, right? We trade easy for growth. We trade easy, right, for that moment when you can turn a $7,000 paycheck into a $35,000, $40,000, $45,000, even a $50,000 paycheck. And so I could tell you that growth is never easy. Some of the stuff I'm going to share in this episode today is going to cause you to grow and expand. And not everyone is going to like you. Part of growth is exiting some old relationships. Part of growth is about leaving behind the old you, right? Burying the old you and the new you arising from the ashes. Okay, so I'm really interested to hear what you think. By the way, share this with, again, your colleagues or your teammates or your partner or another investor, because once you start doing this, you will never go back. All right. So once you've got a property under contract, right? You've got this piece of paper. You want to then take a deep breath, right? And say, okay, instead of rushing to sell this thing as fast as humanly possible, how do I maximize the dollar value here? And I'm going to assume, for the purposes of this podcast, that you're actually not going to buy it, right? You're not going to take it down, as we call it. You're going to wholesale it. So take a deep breath and say, okay, how do I double what I normally make? How do I triple what I normally make here? Okay, think that in your head. The next thing that you want to do is you want to gather every single cash buyer that you have. Now, if you only have 3 to 5, you're in trouble, okay? You need to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 good cash buyers on your list. When I'm talking about 50 good cash, I've heard some people say, I have 1,000 people on my list, okay? That's hogwash, okay? Out of those 1,000, there's only really 30 good ones, right? People who are actually buying in this market. So you really only need, again, 30 to 50 really, really, really good cash buyers to really maximize your profit. What you want to do is you want to prepare an email with all the specifics of the property, right? You want to have all the pictures that you can. You want to have a set inspection time, right? One time. So I would put on the email, inspection is precisely at 1 p.m. Please show up on time. You will only have 20 minutes in the property. Now, it's really important here, right, that you become from this position of being subservient, right? That's what most new real estate investors are, or maybe people who've been in the business for just a long time. They're normally subservient to their cash buyers. And so now you have to take the power. You have to set the tone. You have to understand the convenience factor, right? You are making it convenient for you, and you are making inconvenient for your cash buyers. You need to keep them on their toes and control the situation. This is how you're going to maximize the profit. This is also how you run a business and not let your business run you. You can't have your cell phone just ringing all the time with cash buyers wanting to get in at all times of the day. So set one specific time, set one specific window, okay? Then set a specific starting bid for the property. Now, for me, I like to price the property $10,000 lower than I think it will sell for. And we're going to change our language a little bit here. In your email, you want to write suggested starting bid, okay? Suggested starting bid. And put that bold, right? Now, if you're feeling uncomfortable in this podcast, good, because you may understand where I'm going here, okay? We are going to drive the price of this property up. We're going to create a feeding frenzy at this sucker, all right? And we're going to increase the amount of money that we're going to put in your pocket, okay? This is the key, all right? Amateurs, they are like, I just want to sell to my old cash buyers, right? I don't want to do this. I've got the buddies and this. And so one of the things that I'm going to talk about is that you have a fiduciary responsibility to your business to maximize profit. Okay. Now, get everybody at the property at the same time. I'm also going to suggest that you hire a professional home inspector to come. All right. You should be able to negotiate anywhere between $200 to $250 to get a professional home inspector at every house that you go to. Now, what's great about this is it's going to anchor the seller that you are legitimate. Okay. So get everybody a deadline. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. Okay. Now, give everyone a bid deadline. Say bids are due within 24 hours of the inspection. All right. You will get access to the inspection. Please send all email offers to this address, right? Also put in the email your terms. So if it's $5,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit, right? That's the deposit the buyer puts into escrow. 10-day close, cash or hard money only, right? Hard money is like private money if the buyer is going to get a private loan if you decide to go that route, right? It's your title company, and money needs to be in within 24 hours. So you want to put all these terms here, set the tone, right? It's your way or the highway. Now, if you get there should be a feeding frenzy, right? And you should be uncomfortable, and it's going to be like, whoa, you're going to feel like you're going to lose a little bit of control there, right? There should be a little bit of chaos and a little bit of pandemonium. If you didn't, and by the way, that's this market, right? For the last 10, 11 years, we've been in this market where it's been a seller's market. And so that's very much the case right now, right? So make sure, again, that you create this frenzy. You should feel this tension when you go, all right? And you need to anchor the seller on this. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that on the podcast. If you anchor the seller, this is going to be easy. Now, when you get there, people may try to talk to the buyer if it's there, the seller if they're there. So you want to do a little bit of crowd control and say, listen, come in, don't talk to the seller, sign in here, go look at the property, and then send your offers to this email address, right? And you can put that all in your email address. Don't talk to the seller, send your offers here. Now, no matter what's going to happen here is there are going to be a couple buyers who don't listen to directions. But if you, again, have a relationship with the seller and you anchor it, it's not going to be a problem, right? None of these showings have gone 100% according to plan. So I want to set that stage. Now, in our company, we've used something called a field inspector to help here, right? So we don't physically go out to our properties. We either use a real estate agent, which I'm going to talk about actually in the next episode, which is a great way to do this, or a field inspector. And a field inspector actually goes out when we've paid $75 to go handle the inspection, and they do crowd control, and they prevent people from talking to the seller and set expectations and get a sign in. And we actually build our cash buyers list this way. All right. So after the showing, we send all buyers a copy of the inspection, and we wait for the offers to come in. Okay. We say highest and best, and we wait. Okay. And it's very important because people are going to say, I want to lock up the property. I want it now. Here's an offer. And they're going to try to push you to accept the offer, but don't. You must be patient. If you remember that scene from Braveheart, I don't know, that movie back from 1998, right? He goes, they're waiting for the English to go across the this field, right? And the Scots they have these big poles, and he's saying, hold, hold, hold. And then they get there and they pick up the poles right before the horses get there. And so do not shoot your powder, okay? They talk about keep your powder dry, right? Do not accept an offer too early. Make sure you wait for the deadline, because you will be shocked at how much buyers are paying right now, okay? And you need to maximize this, okay, to really, really, really grow your business. Now, by then, if you've been doing business the old way, and now you do it this way, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what has happened? I can tell you that we have done a private coaching group just on this. And our goal was to double everyone's deal size. And all of the clients in the group were like aghast at themselves for all the money that they've been leaving on the table. Literally, pretty much 90% of the people in the group doubled their income overnight. Okay. And I can tell you that this one podcast episode will completely change your life. Okay. So once you've got an offer, you want to make sure that the EMD is in. That's the earnest money deposit. It's non-refundable. Okay. And then you're going to close the deal. Now, a few notes about this, right, is I guarantee you that if you've been selling to a pool of pocket buyers, you're going to make some of your quote unquote old buddies angry. All right. And by the way, if you think that this is unique to you, right, the reason why these people are your quote unquote buddies is because you are selling them properties at a steep discount. Right. I guarantee you that as soon as you do this, your old buddies are not necessarily going to be your old buddies anymore. All right. You need to transfer this relationship to from superiority in an inferior position, which right now, if you're doing business the old way, you're probably in an inferior position, and they're looking to you as more like a bird dog, someone who brings them deals. All right. They are going to be upset. They're going to storm off. They're going to be angry. They're going to tell you, I'm going to market directly to motivated sellers, USOB, boop, boop, boop. And that's okay, right? Just because you change your rules and set those expectations and being upfront and honest, expect some pushback, right? You got to bury the old you. Now, your old friends can still get deals from you. They're just not going to get as large of spreads, right? Or if they want to go get deals from someplace else, that's okay. And if they still want to be friends with you, right, then go out to lunch. But they got to buy properties the new way, right? You don't have to lose your friends. They just have to buy the properties the new way and participate in the bidding process. Do not leave this kind of money on the table. Your job as a business owner, okay, and that's what you are, a business owner, is to be a good steward of your resources. Don't let your emotions or your feelings let you sacrifice your business. You must lead, okay? This is really, really, really important. If you implement this, I guarantee you it's going to change your life. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with 3 or 4 of your colleagues, your teammates, your partners, or other people who you know want to get into real estate or need to make more in their business. If you want to learn more on actually how to get properties for a significant discount and negotiate, go check out NoLimitSalesSystem.com, and you are going to love the next episode. So check out the next show. I'm going to talk about actually how to work with real estate agents to get an insane price on your deals.